Hey guys, I'm excited to share some big announcements with you for the 2023 calendar year. Tampa being one of the biggest tournaments we'd ever done, by most accounts was very successful. Congratulations to all the champions. We did come away with plenty of things that we are looking to improve upon for next year, to make better throughout our tournament calendar year this year as well, and to give you some more opportunities to grow, play more styles, and some other fun things that we're looking forward to sharing with you here in just a second. One of the biggest points of emphasis coming from Tampa was the officiating. It's always a point of contention, and they're never going to be perfect. We understand that there's always going to be complaints in that regard, and a lot of them very warranted, some of them unnecessary. But at the end of the day, we have some really good plans to improve upon that, and I just want to share with you a couple of the improvements that we have lined up. Number one, we're going to be moving towards a little bit more of a streamlined schedule for Nationals and Worlds, and I'll go into it more because it's a whole topic unto itself. But what it will allow us to do is put our officials in a position to succeed, more so than they are now when they're bouncing around from style to style. Same thing on the player side. Give them more consistency to be able to play through an entire schedule of the same style from pool play all the way through playoffs in a row, and be able to focus on that style and not get as easily confused with some of the nuances between the styles. Another way we're offering and creating cheat sheets this year, which we've just finalized. We were hoping to have them by Tampa, but it's kind of a big undertaking to get all of the rules streamlined into some of the hotter topics and most easily confused rule interpretations. Things like, how long is the play clock, the rush line. Like, some of these are very, very easy to remember things if you're focusing on that style, but can get confused when you're bouncing from style to style. And we want to nip those in the bud before they happen by having that information available at their fingertips in the form of a note card. So those will be present this year at all tournaments that we run for the officials, and we're going to also offer these to sanctioned leagues and tournaments who use our rules to help them create a better officiating environment back home as well. We are also offering some increased pay opportunities this year. Essentially, there will be additional pay options for our national and world championship tournaments based on attending the officials training sessions that we'll be bringing back the day before the tournament to walk them through on-field scenarios and different things, among other options that we'll be going over with them directly, to help us increase the quality of the officiating and maybe get some officials to be able to attend who couldn't have afforded it otherwise in the past. We're also offering some training videos and certification that we hope to be finalizing by Q2. Everything that we do in an in-person training environment, we're going to create videos around certification coursework that they can take online, watch them, take quizzes, and also increase their pay based on their success there going into our world championships, and allowing other leagues and tournaments to tap into that as well to help train their officials on site who can't necessarily attend our events, with the goal of helping officials nationwide kind of streamline the rules and the training and be able to come into Tampa and other tournaments that we run fully prepared without having to lean on some of the things that they learn locally that might hurt them when they get to our tournaments, and lean on that information. From a scheduling standpoint, we're going to make some big changes this year at our national and world championships that we think will help improve the quality of each division by introducing some new divisions to try to keep the total number of teams in each division at a more manageable level, as well as just the actual format of the schedule to make it easier on our officials and our players, and the rosters and everything else that we'll talk about shortly. So the first thing is we are introducing the elite division and a novice division. The elite division will be between our pro and our comp. So it'll be a cash prize division at Nationals and Worlds. It'll be less than our pro, greater than our comp, and it'll basically be a style for some of those teams to play in that might be on the border between the two. Same thing for the novice division. It'll be between the rec and the amateur division. And kind of the point and the goal of them is to create additional space for some of those divisions that might have 50, 60 teams to move into, increase the parity of those divisions that would be equal competition, and just allow us to grow in those styles. Probably going to be in the 4-on-4, 5-on-5 non-contact divisions. To start, we might include them in some of the other ones as our numbers start to increase. at that point. Our goal is to cap all divisions at 32 teams, so you won't necessarily see 60 plus teams in a division from moving forward. So the next biggest change is going to be that all small ball styles, so 4-on-4, 5-on-5, 6-on-6, we're going to move to a pool play and playoffs starting and finishing in the same block the same day at our national and world championships. It'll be more similar to our regional, our open formats that we've used in the past. So basically Friday morning you might play pool play and then playoffs of all of one style in a row all the way through until there's a championship. In the afternoon you would play an additional style. It would be easier on our officials and our players because we feel like them being able to focus on one style all the way through will help them without having to switch between format to format to format, trying to, catch your rhythm, remember like what plays you use, have your players bouncing all around. I think it'll be a more consistent environment for both of them. It's also going to be a lot easier for people to understand the schedule blocks because we do still have a lot of people who don't quite understand which styles don't overlap. This will make it much simpler to see that there's only going to be 5 or 6, 7, 8 styles playing at one time. And they'll definitely be overlapping in that same block. So you should really pick one style in each block at most and then move on to the next block in the afternoon to play a different style. It'll actually allow you to play more styles. In Tampa on a 3-day tournament, you're going to be able to play essentially a style every half day. So where we normally would have 4 blocks and could guarantee you 4 styles, we could essentially guarantee you 6 styles now. You can play one in every half day. You could take a day off. If you have players that can't make it until Sunday for a 3-day tournament, now you have a style they can play all the way through. They're not only there for playoffs. So there's a lot of benefits to kind of how we include and incorporate this style. We have some roster changes that we'll go over shortly that have kind of already been leaked online and some people are talking about it. This is one of the main reasons that those roster changes will make a little bit more sense because you'll have a lot more flexibility in your rosters. Whereas before you had your roster lock the first day of the tournament, and by the third day you might have guys getting injured or there's more overlap than you expected. In this scenario, you'll know exactly which divisions overlap, and if someone gets injured on Saturday night, you can update your rosters all the way through your first game. So if he doesn't play until Sunday, you can move someone in, move someone out. You can update it all the way until your first game that might be on a Sunday, might be on a Saturday. So you have more flexibility to make that a lot more manageable throughout the tournament. Allowing teams to play, each day in half days, I think it's just going to be more flexible for the teams who can travel but might not have been able to travel every day of the tournament, which would give us more teams over the grand scheme of the tournament itself. So we think that these styles changes, these schedule changes to the formats are ultimately going to be better in a lot of different ways from an ease standpoint on the players, on the officials, on the rosters, and everything in between. So expect to see that in Arlington, and you can kind of see from the examples beside like what we're talking about in the blocks to help it make sense for you whenever you do your drafts and everything else. All right, so to some of the fun announcements, we have a couple new divisions that we're going to be offering this year, completely new styles that we want to talk about that I think are going to really create some excitement and buzz at each of the tournaments. So the first one being the new 5-on-5 Olympic division. We've kind of teased this. We've talked about it in some graphics. There's like a road to Tampa that includes starting at Arlington National Championships. The idea is that this style will be the closest we have to IFAF gameplay, which is what they play internationally and will probably be what we see at the Olympic level whenever, hopefully in 2028, if it does get introduced. So the concept is going to be that these will be state rostered teams. One team from each state will be represented to play against each other in pool, and then they will compete in Arlington to decide which team will advance. They'll play in a qualifier there in a tournament for cash prize that will help them with their seeding and practice. In McAllen, which is our USA versus Mexico tournament in October, those state teams that advance will play each other in a U.S. state bracket. Mexico teams will compete in a Mexico bracket, The winner of each will win a cash prize and then compete against each other for kind of a special border championship, USA versus Mexico, kind of a pride-based tournament, but there will be cash prizes as well. That will also qualify the Mexico team for our Tampa Olympic division and help seed the U.S. teams into that division as well. And then going into Tampa, it would be a similar situation. The U.S. teams would play through a bracket until there's one U.S. winner from whatever state it is that advances would play the winner of the international division, which they would be qualifying down to one team, and we'd see one cash prize. And I think this is going to be something that would claim the true world championship for that division in this format that is most like the Olympics that we think we'll see, and bring a lot of pride to your state. And we'll talk about more about rosters and how that's going to work. And next year, we might incorporate more of our state championships into qualifying those teams. But for this year, that's the plan, and we'll have more information to come. But it's something that we're excited to introduce. So prepare for that in Arlington. With the Olympic division being state rostered and some of the changes to the roster limits, one of the other changes is going to be our gauntlet division will now be more of a normal style that includes a traditional 10-player roster, which is going to be equivalent to the other 4- and 5-man rosters. And we are removing the state restriction from gauntlet. It'll still be single elimination at our national and world championships, but it'll be back to just a traditional division with pool play at our open events in the regular schedule blocks. And so it'll just be another style that we offer for you guys to play. We are introducing the 5-on-5 air and out co-ed division. So this is a new division as well. It's based exactly on our air and out rules. It's similar in concept to Vanita has been running it. It's called the Women's Playground Division at some of our Texas tournaments, and everybody seems to really like it. And it makes perfect sense with what we do in air it out. And so it'll be one male quarterback or rusher only. So you don't have to use a male, but if you do, you can have a male quarterback. Our air it out rules already basically make it to where the quarterback cannot run. There's no laterals, handoffs, so he would just be running the offense, throwing to his females. There's no additional points for touchdowns because it'll always be a female touchdown. And you can use a male rusher if you'd like, but it can play no other position, just to kind of spice it up and give us a little bit of a different style to work with the females and the males in one style, but without it being dominated, which sometimes our male or our co-eds can be in the 5-on-5, 8-on-8 co-ed by the male players. So that is going to be something that I'm excited to try. I know that a lot of people have been excited to see if we could put it in our tournaments, and we will be allowing it as soon as Vegas, our first tournament, and I think we'll incorporate it in quite a few this year. We're also bringing back one of the biggest styles that people have been asking us about for quite a while, which is going to be 9-man and 8-on-8 contact women. So we have an official deal with 9-man to bring them back to Tampa next year. They will be hosting it right alongside our other styles, and we'll announce some of those changes below to which styles are playing at what times. And the 8-on-8 contact women's division will be back as well. We'll be offering it at least at our 2024 Tampa World Championship. So I know that there's a lot of players who are excited about that. It'll help them players be able to play additional styles on top of that and bring in some really an old partnership that people have been excited to bring back. And then we are introducing the 6-on-6 ineligible division. So this is going to be based off of our 5-on-5 rules, but it'll be with 6 players rostered, 2 ineligible linemen, and 4 downs to score with no laterals or handoffs. So this is going to be really a division that we are excited about for the 9-man players that are coming over. Some of their bigger bodies where they play ineligible, want to block and all that. We'll have a division that'll be kind of similar for them that we can introduce that I think they're going to really enjoy. And then we're also introducing a 6-on-6 contact big man division. So basically it'll be 250 pounds plus, so that those, again, big boys can find a division that they really can excel in and enjoy. And we've had a lot of people asking about that. So those are some things that we're all going to kind of introduce together to make the event as fun for everybody and give everybody more additional styles to play. And the last thing with the divisions, we're going to be introducing a draft style format. So this is going to be standalone at certain tournaments. We haven't figured out exactly which. We are starting in Vegas. And what it'll be is an individual draft style tournament. You register individually. We're going to be working with Under Armour and probably the XFL. We're still finalizing some more of those details, but to where you would register individually, you'd get a jersey, you'd get flags most likely, and then you would be able to compete in a draft style tournament that you would be selected from the captains, snake style draft, just like you probably have done locally, but you'll get an opportunity to do it at a traveling tournament with teams from all over the country that we think will be a lot of fun. And that'll start in Vegas in April, but we are hoping to have it at quite a few tournaments, and we plan to have it like on the evening before the tournament starts, like Friday night. We do a draft style tournament for anybody who wants to come in town and play that style, maybe warm up, get to play with some new people, and then Saturday and Sunday, we'd start the traditional styles that we offer for the tournament and go from there. Okay, so rosters is another big change that I know some of you have already kind of figured out we're making when we announced our Vegas tournament, and some of the roster spots were already listed. We are officially changing a lot of our 15 rosters down to 10, which would be for 4-on-4, 5-on-5 non-contact, our aired-out gauntlet styles. Our co-ed and our 5-on-5 co-ed and our 5-on-5 contact and our 6-on-6 contact styles we're going to leave at 12. And then our 7-on-7 and 8-on-8 co-ed are going to be down to 20 from 30, which I don't think many teams were going over that anyway. The biggest ones being the 15 to 10 for the 4-on-4 5-man styles and the 15 to 12 for the 5-on-5 co-ed contact 6-man styles. 8-on-8 and 9-on-9 contact, we're not changing those roster limits from 30. Those will stay the same. And really the big reason we're looking at introducing this is we think it's going to help reduce a lot of the team stacking in some of the divisions. It should create more teams throughout the course of the tournament, especially since we're introducing more divisions and more play like skill levels. I think that's going to increase the parity and just the quality of all the competition that's out there. With the way we changed our schedules, and we've already kind of talked through that, you shouldn't need that many bodies on a roster to begin with, and you should be able to change your rosters around before the next style if you need to accommodate for it. So all the way around, we think it's going to be a better fit for what we're doing, and I know it's going to be a big change for some of these teams out there, and a lot of teams didn't use those rosters anyway. So hopefully that's something we can see how it goes throughout the rest of the year, and we think it's going to improve the quality of life at the events overall. Finally, one of the last changes that we want to talk about is maybe one of the biggest ones for everybody going into Tampa 2024 at the end of the calendar year next year. What we're looking at doing, we've already locked everything down on the field and facility-wise and everything else. We are going to be moving our World Championships to be held over 2 straight weekends in January. It'll still be at the Tampa Sportsplex. The first weekend will be the MLK weekend, and the second weekend, which is the weekend after, which is January 19th through 20th, we're going to offer additional styles. So January 12th through 14th, which is the first weekend on MLK, we're going to offer our 6-man contact, 8-man contact, 9-man styles. These are the styles that really have 8-man and 9-man specifically have kind of been playing on this weekend for so long. I know it means a lot to them to remain on MLK weekend, and just from a field use standpoint and how that works when tearing up the fields with the smaller styles, this is the best bet from the facility side as well. And will give us more fields that we can use to actually incorporate more of the 8-man teams, the 9-man teams, and then ultimately the next weekend with our 4-on-4, 5-on-5, 7-on-7, 8-on-8 screen styles, we're going to have a lot more space there too. So it's going to accommodate some of the new styles we're introducing, give us more space to operate. Both weekends are going to have the same World's atmosphere that you've come to expect the last couple of years. We'll have the sponsorship village, food trucks, championship ceremonies, the stage, DJ, the MC, and the top competition in the world, and they'll be there. It's going to allow us to basically include a wrapped championship field with a stadium-like atmosphere that we are planning to introduce next year, which we've done in the past, and I know a lot of players have asked us to bring that back. Traditionally, that just comes down to field space, but with this setup, we should be able to have those fields that are only going to be used for championship games that are going to be a much better environment for them that's going to be pretty cool to see, among other things. So we think this is going to be something that will be a little bit of a change for some players who are playing both styles that might be on 2 different weekends. For the most part, a lot of the styles that are played are teams that wouldn't have to do that. But we hope that in this case, this is going to allow us to increase the number of teams that we can accept. And we'll give everybody the best environment possible at the same time so that we can incorporate everybody into that atmosphere, and are really looking forward to next year with some more things that we have planned that we can't announce yet, but these are some of the biggest changes that we have on the calendar. We will have some more things to announce pretty soon, but all of these combine, the scheduling, the officials, the change in tournament schedules, some of the new styles we're introducing. I think this is going to be one of the best years we've ever had. A lot of new, fun, exciting styles. I think it's going to improve the quality of life. It's going to improve the officiating, and we're really looking forward to Tampa 2024 and seeing you guys there.